Welcome to Back of the Room. My name is Jimmy Day. Usually I have a guest here and I would introduce them, but things just didn't work out. Usually, talk to a guest. It's more interview style, but, things happen. I had Gabe Kia coming on and picked him up from the St. Charles Funny Bone. Drove him over here, got everything set up, and somebody stole one of my mic cables. Probably a band or who knows what over at the Backstreet Jazz and Blues Club, right next to the Westport Funny Bone, where we're recording from the back of the room. But it was kind of a jerk move. If you're a band or a DJ, you should probably have a mic cable and not just steal one from a podcast that no one listens to. That's not cool, So found it though. It was out there in the Backstreet area. Plugged it in. Because it was unplugged, it caused all kinds of problems with the audio interface, which I don't really understand still. I'm not good with technology. The audio interface plugs into the laptop, and then magically you talk into the mic, and then it records on the laptop from that, I think. Not exactly sure. Not good with technology. But it was all fucked up. So I was dicking around with it for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. And obviously, Gabe, I felt bad that I had wasted Gabe's time. So, Gabe Kia, hilarious comedian from St. Louis originally. Now he's in Cincinnati. He's not here. I got it fixed like an hour ago, so now I'm just by myself. Or maybe we'll reconvene one of these days, but sorry for wasting your time, Gabe. So, just gonna fill some time here. This is probably not what anyone wants. It's not what I want, to be honest. No one wants to listen to me talk. But that's what you're getting, Just killing time here in the back of the room. It's named Back of the Room because we're in the back of the room with the Westport Funny Bone. It's kind of on the nose, but a little zippy. It's got a little zip to it, zipping around. I got this little screen on my camera also that I can kind of see myself, which is not helping. Why, Jim, why do you wear gray? You can't pull off gray anymore. It's not good. I try to wear black because I'm what I think experts call skinny fat. Yeah, it's not good. Skinny fat is where you can gain and or lose 20-ish pounds and nobody notices, It's like I'm actually down. I'm down about 10, but I still look like shit. Nobody's like, "Oh, looks like you're coming down a bit. You're looking good." Everybody's like, "Oh, okay. He looks the same." That's not what you want, You should probably put on some muscle, but that requires working out and having motivation. That's not a strong suit. So I'm going to go with skinny fat. There's got to be a tipping point, though. I lose 20, maybe 30. Go anorexic style. Like, whoa. That's bad. You should probably eat more. Or just fatter. I don't know. It's not good, folks. It's not good. Gray. Yeah, gray's not forgiving. Used to wear a gray T-shirt in basketball practice, and it shows the sweat. It does everything. It's an unforgiving color. It's not great at all. Oh, it's Scott James, everyone. Come on in. Who gives a fuck? I'm just killing time here, Scott. Get in the mix. I only have one mic set up. I could get two. We'll get two going.
We can do it like Steven Tyler and whoever when he's
Joe
back up.
Perry.
Joe Perry. You gotta like back up to each other and.
Da-da-da-da-da.
When I was so broken hearted.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd that go?
What's that? My set?
Yeah.
It went good. It went all right. I'm trying to be a little more brave about throwing out some new material. It's what I call a shit sandwich. You open strong, close strong, and whatever's in the middle is like, possibly shit.
I like it. Let me get you set up here. We're gonna take a quick break.
Oh no.
All right. Scott James, everybody. Repeat back of the room guest.
Is this the first repeat?
Yeah. We've only done like 20 of these and to no avail, but
by popular demand.
Oh yeah, back.
Did you tell you did a little bit of this before. Did you already tell the story about what happened?
I did. Man. It's not great.
That sucks, man. Technical difficulties are like when I was playing music. Every now and then you'd have something like that. Somebody would forget a key piece of gear. Guitar player forget his instrument cable.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I've done it before. Where I don't think I ever forget like a drummer because that's what I played.
You can get away with drums because it's loud.
Well, no, but there's key pieces. Like you could get away with forgetting quite a bit of stuff and still be like, okay, I have a hi-hat, a snare drum, a bass drum, and a tom, maybe a ride cymbal, and you could play that gig probably and be fine.
I was just saying you don't need mics on the drums at least because if it's a smaller venue, you could still hear them.
Smaller venue, yeah,
But yeah.
But if you're playing a bigger venue, they're going to have their own mics.
But if the guitar player forgets his chord, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened here. It was 1 out of 2 mic cables.
Well, you didn't forget it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't forget it.
Somebody forgot to put it back where they found it.
And they shouldn't have took it in the first place.
Yeah, but like I said, sometimes a band's playing a gig, and they're like, oh shit, we don't have an instrument cable or a mic cable or whatever, and they see one back here.
Yeah.
Isn't there a fable about that? Like,
Aesop, remember him?
I never met him.
I haven't met him either, but that's the only fable guy I know.
Isn't it Aesop?
Maybe.
Aesop Rocky? Aesop Rock?
Yeah.
There's 2 different rappers. There's an Aesop Rocky and an Aesop Rock. I wonder if they hang.
Probably not.
I wish they would.
Speaking of ASAP Rocky Road. It's a great ice cream sponsored by the podcast. It's pretty good.
You're making things up now.
No, I'm just trying to kill time here, Scott. No plans.
This is fun that...
Check this out, too. Not to cut you off.
Go on, dude.
What's your favorite color?
Green. Go on.
Boom.
Oh.
There it is.
Wow.
Took 3 buttons, but it would have been better if I just hit it and it worked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn it. It's technical difficulties again on the little backlighting. But
Gremlins, man.
Oh, yeah, green, though. Green's my favorite color, too.
It's not. It's just... it seemed like a color you might have. I don't know. I looked at the remote.
What's your real favorite color? Why are you hiding your real favorite color?
I think you asked me this on the same...
Yeah. That's the only reason you're on here is to figure out your real favorite color.
Well, I said black last time, and I'm going to stick with it.
You're wearing black. I see.
It goes with everything.
I was talking about it earlier. I wear black because I'm fat and look bad.
Slimming?
Yeah, exactly. I'm wearing gray now.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Gray shows sweat stains.
Yeah.
Like if you're sweating, it definitely shows. Black's a little more forgiving.
Our fucking piece of shit basketball coach would make us wear gray the day after New Year's to basketball practice because he knew we were all getting hammered. And then he would have a fucking 7 a.m. practice with gray shirts on. And,
sweat out the toxins?
Just sweat everything out. It turns out also, it's winter break. So they shut the water off to the whole building. So he was running us for 3 hours straight with no water.
What kind of weird? They shut off the water to your school when you're.
There was no water fountains, any water access to drink,
Dude, I get
and 3-hour practice. I threw up.
So I'll work in buildings
Fucking
and
sucked.
I do floors during the day. It's construction or whatever. But sometimes you work and sometimes it's not on purpose. The HVAC stuff is on a timer.
Yeah.
So it will like cut off the heat. It'll cut off the AC while you're working, and you're like, dude, why is it 80 degrees in here? And it's almost worse to work inside when it's like, if it was 100 degrees, it'd be different. But if it's like 80 degrees, it's almost enough to where you don't notice. You just notice that you're like, it's sapping your energy.
Yeah, it's a little off.
It's a slow death versus like if it's 100 degrees, you're going to do something about that. But 80, you're going to like just deal with it and suffer
Yeah.
and sweat through every article of clothing you're wearing.
Yeah, it happened. And this time exactly, too, because, like, it's cooling down. I noticed it on the wrong side, the cold side, and so I kicked on the heat the other night. Then you get that burnt bullshit smell
Oh, yeah.
and then I was just like, fuck.
I'm kind of dreading that with my house. I haven't turned my heat on yet, but it's been nice, like crisp mornings.
You got to change your
And,
filter. Make sure you change the filter and then turn it on, because I didn't do
I've got
it.
an extra filter. I'll change it out and then turn the thing on.
Yeah.
But I also have pets, so I'm just assuming that like pet hair, no matter how good the filter is, some of it just migrates into whatever's going to heat the air up, and smell like burnt cat and dog hair in my house for at least a couple days.
Yeah, and it happened here. Happened at the open mic.
Oh, yeah.
Loudest alarm of all time.
Yeah, it kicked on the fire alarm, which in a commercial building is not delicate.
No. I couldn't believe it that people stayed.
Yeah.
Because the door guys were like, we got it. There's no fire.
It's under control. We've been throwing bottles of Dasani
It was
on
so
that
fucking
fire.
loud, man. Like, I have tinnitus, so I couldn't do it. I was like, oh, my God. I gotta get the fuck out of here. And walked outside. And the panel apparently is across to the way of the escalators.
Yeah.
I saw the fucking guy over there. I was like, hey, man, like, can you shut this shit off? I didn't say it like that. I was trying to be nice.
Right.
And I was like, he had keys and stuff. I was like, hey, I was over here at the Funny Bone. Like, can you shut this off? He's like, I don't have the authority. I'm like, people are going deaf in there. Like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
Shut it off. And he's like, no, I don't have the authority. I was like, I'll shut it off. And he's being a dick about it.
I think at that point, like, legally, they have to, like...
I think the dude that was with him, though, shut it off.
Due diligence, what? Yeah, but there is, like...
I
trust
was
me.
like, dude, I'll do a lap. There's not a fucking fire. Just
give me
shut
the
this shit
key,
off.
Give me the key. Take a walk.
The fact that there was a show on Tuesday is a miracle.
Yeah.
Because I
It wound
cannot
up being
believe
a good
anyone.
show, too.
Yeah, it was a great show. But, like, who would sit in that for 20 minutes?
You know who will and not give it a second thought? Construction workers. Because when you work in a new commercial building, especially if you're a finish worker, like if you do floors or painting or trim carpentry or something like that, they have to run the HVAC and they test it to see how it's pushing, but they also have to test the fire alarms and all that stuff. And they're testing that shit for like a week. So for a week solid, you're working in a building with those fire alarms going off all day.
It was so loud,
And they'll
man.
cut it off for a little bit, and then they're like, run it again. It gives you just enough relief to be like, oh, thank God that nightmare's over. And then they kick it right back on. And they got to have, it's for safety. They got to have like the fire marshal come out and be like, yeah, totally. These are crazy loud. Hurt my ears.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
I know. I mean, there's a reason there's fire alarms and, all that kind of shit. But
yeah, there's a reason, Jimmy.
Yeah,
for
I
fires.
know. But fires aren't that common.
So people.
I've worked in insurance. The fucking insurance agent one time, maybe 6 months ago, they gave me the business because I was like, hey, I'm paying too much for fucking home insurance. What the hell is this shit? Because I had the breakdown. They send me the breakdown once a year. Like, this is horse shit. They're like, well, it's if your house burns down. I'm like, my house isn't fucking burning down. Nobody's house burns down. I know they do sometimes.
No, that's not true.
Not very common,
Someone
though.
in my neighborhood, their house burned down.
Not very
Not meth
common,
related.
though.
Not meth related. It's not
Okay.
that bad of a neighborhood.
It's a pretty good neighborhood. I mean, I don't smoke meth or cook meth. Should I get a discount? I was just like, hey, knock this shit off. Like, my house isn't going to burn down. It's brick.
I'm trying to think of the last time I did something that was like definitely a fire hazard. And I'm sure, yeah, actually, I remember. It was absolutely like putting an oven-baked pizza in my oven and then falling asleep.
That's
And
not
then,
great.
And
yeah.
then waking up like an hour later and be like... And it was like... It wasn't a fire, but it was definitely like pretty dark.
Yeah, I know it happens, but I'm just saying, out of every house in America, most of them aren't burning to the ground.
Most of them aren't getting hit by tornadoes either. But in the event that it does, your homeowner's insurance will argue with you on if you should have had that house there in the first place. Maybe it's your fault and we don't have to pay.
Yeah.
Because that's how homeowner's insurance is.
It's terrible,
You work
man.
for the enemy.
I'm not in insurance anymore. I used to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I gave him the business. I was like, I had that hail that ran through. Like, you can't control that either. But I was like, I used to do fucking auto claims. I know what you're doing right now. So I called him out, and then I finally got him to pay what it was like actually was fair.
I might need you to help me with my house because I'm fighting. It's between my contractor and I'm not to put them on blast, and I don't know if you could get in trouble, but it's an insurance company that rhymes with Mate Parm.
Nobody's listening to this shit, so it's fine.
No.
But yeah, I'll help you out, man, because I know how it goes. It's horseshit. Like, oh, like hail. You can't control that. It happens.
I'm literally.
But
there's
you pay
a broken
every
window I can see, and State
It
Farm
was-
was like,
Was it broken before? No, it wasn't. It
Yeah.
got hit by hail and now it's broken. Well, you shouldn't have
yeah.
let that ice
And the
ball
contract,
hit your...
it's so funny. My initial estimate from my insurance, the adjuster turned in a claim, and it was like, yeah, we'll give you like $8,000 for it. They gave me almost $9,000 to fix the damage to my truck, and it's not a nice truck.
I had the same thing. Like, my truck's a piece of shit, and I had to like fight to get at least what the original estimate was. I'm like,
right.
What are you doing here?
The contractor, I finally got a hold of my adjuster, who's the second adjuster that's been on my house, and it's so stupid. But the lady was like, well, I mean, I think here's maybe the problem, is the contractor is asking for $35,000 to do this project.
That's a problem as well.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
so you wanted to give me less than 10 grand, and they're like, how about 25 more?
They're doing the old shoot high because they know it's going to be low, but
Yeah,
I'll look at your...
But meanwhile, it's been 6 months, and there is
Yeah.
no work being done to my house.
That sucks, man.
And I'm ready to burn. I doom on all of them, man.
I know.
I hope they all get gout. Ugh.
Yeah, speaking of gout, I was talking about earlier how I didn't go to a medical professional, but I diagnosed myself as being skinny fat. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I usually, like, maybe in high school, I was probably like 175.
Solid fighting weight. How tall?
6'2".
Okay, 6'2". So
But
that's
I still looked like shit. So now I'm like fat. I'm like, I've dropped 10.
nice.
I was at 215. I'm at 205 now. Still look like shit. So I
Yeah.
think I'm going to have to work out to ever look.
Yeah.
Good.
My actually, my stepdad has lost a ton of weight. He's lost like 90 pounds. Drugs. But
Nice.
he's still doing it, man, and he looks good. He looks real good.
Yeah, it's just tough, man. I was like, I just had this flipped out, earlier. I was just looking at the gray shirt. I'm like, this is not good.
Nah, you'll be all
Nobody
right.
wants to see that.
It's best not to. I've always been like, I had a real hard time, whatever like your insecurities are, the things you get made fun of. The things you get made fun of in like middle school and high school, those are the most accurate. And I always just got made fun of for being like really, really skinny. And I'm telling you, I gotta tell I tell my kid the same thing, and I'm like, trust me, you'll be all right. You're gonna fill out in your 20s. Whereas like I had my last growth spurt, I think when I was like 22 or 23. It was like my second driver's license says like 5'6" and 120 pounds, and I fudged my weight a little bit. I was probably 115. And now I'm like I'm not 6 foot, but I'm like 5'10", 5'11", or something like that. And the most I've ever weighed is 170. And I weighed 170, 175 2 times in my life. Once when I was working out a lot, and I wasn't, like, really, I had no plan. I wasn't working out a lot, and I didn't look any different. And I wasn't trying to get, like, big or whatever, but I wanted to, like, stay in shape or whatever. And it was when my kid was little, and there was a 24-hour fitness down the street from my apartment, and he always went, and they had like a play place there. And he made friends there, and he wanted to go there and play all the time. And my ex-wife was a bartender, so it would just be me and him at the apartment. I'd be like, yeah, what the hell? Let's go to the gym. You play with your friends, and I'll work out. So I was actually like oddly working out a lot, like 2-3 days a week. And again, not like crazy hard, but I weighed myself one time. I was like, damn, I'm about 175, and I was feeling pretty good about myself. I'm like, man, I feel like a grown man. My shoulders have filled out a little bit. And then, as a couple years later, I wasn't working out. I wasn't going to the gym, and I started having weird, like I had like love handles and these like weird back straps, and
I'm familiar.
My butt was getting big. And I wasn't really getting a gut, but I was definitely like soft. I was like, what the hell's going on? And I was losing I'd fall asleep at red lights, just crazy, crazy tired, like all the time, just crazy fatigue. I had a thyroid issue.
Oh, shit.
And it like made me gain weight. And I gained weight in a weird way where it was like, damn, look at the butt I got, man. Look at my butt.
I wish I could have that.
But
I mean, yeah, I've never had an ass. Like, it's always just like stomach, no ass, just bad.
Yeah, wherever you carry your weight is sort of one of those things, like, the only way to find out is to gain the weight. And I definitely gained it. I gained it, like, on my sides, and, like, I say back straps. It was weird. Like, I had, like, love handles, and, like, I got the small of my back got mushy, and I got a butt. And I don't know, it's been a while, but
I guess I'm the only way I'll ever have an ass is if I just squat for 3 years.
Or you could take the Brazilian route.
I could go BBL, yeah.
Yeah, man.
No, it's not good. I think the best shape I've ever been in, I did that Insanity workout, you know, the guy?
I think I know
it's like an infomercial. It was like the P90X guy.
Yeah. And then
I did it it was 2 months, did it every day. And it actually fucking worked. I got down to 185.
But isn't it like, didn't he have to stop selling that because people were having heart attacks and like?
Probably, yeah.
Because it's like a really intense
No, it was
workout.
like, it was all body weight shit, but it was like hard.
Yeah,
and,
oh yeah. There's a big, so there's a little bit of stuff I try to do now, and it's more just a matter of like, I think I'm past the age, and I'm past like the, I'm going to like, my knees are going to explode any day now. So I'm not really running, but I try to do stuff like, I don't even know what they're called, but there's like, body weight exercises and stuff you can do. And I try to do them like rolling out of bed sort of first thing in the morning. And it almost sounds stupid, but there's like these crawling exercises you can do.
Oh, yeah. Like a mountain climber kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of.
Burpees? You doing burpees?
No, and I hate calling them that. It's so fucking gross. Just call them.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, it's also like, sort of stretching and sort of working out and exercising. And if you do it first thing in the morning, it gives you a little pop of energy. But I also go in like really bad ebbs and flows with it, where sometimes my routine is good with it, and then I'll go like a week of not doing shit and just hitting the snooze on my alarm.
No, it sucks, man. It's like it's like I could totally give up or start trying a little burpee, but it's not good. I don't know. Or I could just keep wearing black T-shirts and not gray. Phil Cornell. Last time I wore this T-shirt, I don't know. I almost burned this fucking T-shirt because what he said. Like Phil Cornell, I'll probably have him on the podcast at some point, but he was like, he's like a cool black guy. He walked up to me and he's like,
he's not that cool.
If
we're honest, he's not that cool.
Okay, well, he's cooler than us.
Cooler than you.
All right.
I don't know what this us shit is.
Here's what he said. I was just, hanging out at the bar. He's like, oh, you got like a pocket on your shirt there. Like, I always thought that was like a douchebag shirt. I was just like, what the hell, man? Like,
that's not how they market it.
Yeah,
that's not what it said on the tag.
I didn't know that, but I guess you're kind of right.
If I'm honest, it's not a great shirt.
Yeah.
I just had this talk with somebody.
It's not good.
You're wearing gray on gray.
Yeah,
Are you trying to be the Gray Ranger?
I need darker than the pocket to not kill myself of fatness.
Yeah.
But I'll probably
would-
get rid of this shirt. It was laundry day. I was like,
I-
maybe he's wrong, but he's totally right.
Here's the thing. I've seen people, I love to see people like work on themselves, like they have something that's like, oh, bugs me. It's one of those things like, I know this sounds like super stereotypical, probably even sounds misogynistic, but god damn it if it's true. If I haven't had like any woman I've been close to in life has said something like, I need to lose weight, I need to do this, I feel, and most of the time they're fine. It's fine, but if there's something like that you don't like about yourself, I love to see somebody like hustle and work on it. But it's one of those things. I've seen people do it hardcore for like a couple months and then stop. You got to be able to do something that you're gonna do. It's got to be something you're gonna do that's sustainable. Like honestly, if your level of activity, and the older you get, the more activity you need to like maintain. So you're not gonna make gains, but you're just gonna stay looking like this. Well, I'm gonna have to like up my game if I don't.
That's exactly. Yeah.
I know what my dad looks like. My dad, he's a skinny fat. I mean, that man's got a gut on him. Like, well, I don't want to. I don't.
That's where
Don't
I'm
get
at.
me
Scott.
wrong,
That's exactly what I'm
I'm
talking
also
about.
not trying to be like. I don't think I'm ever gonna be. I'm never gonna have Bruce Lee's physique again. But I'm also gonna try to like.
I just want
respectable.
I just want a physique.
Yeah.
I'm down right now. I'm down 10. And it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. You could gain 20 or lose 20 when you're skinny fat.
What are you doing for it? Because here's
I'm not doing shit. I'm basically just not eating and doing that intermittent fasting where you eat one time a day.
I think that's.
But
horse
I got to
shit.
work out.
It's horse shit, and it's not sustainable. I think.
No, it's definitely not.
I also am not an expert in this, but what I can tell you is the thing that makes sense to me, and I think this is basically doable. Is I eat like 6-7 times a day, but very small meals.
Okay.
Like first thing in the morning, I have my black coffee and my muffin, and then around 10 o'clock I'll have like something else, a piece of fruit, and it's not always necessarily healthy stuff, and then finish my coffee or have a water or whatever, and then at lunch I'll have like a sandwich, and then another water, and then later the day I'll have like some carrot sticks or some kind of snack, even some crackers or something. And then on the way home from work, I find myself getting hungry again.
Yeah.
And I'm having like some kind of like finger food snack or whatever, and then I'm hungry for dinner at like 7 o'clock, and then I'll have like a relatively regular sized dinner. So and it was explained to me, and I just eat like that. Like that's when I get hungry. That's when I'm wanting to eat. And I've had it explained to me like, no, that's the best way to do it because it keeps you never let yourself get hungry and never let yourself get full. Always have yourself sort of constantly taking
but
in.
you're also just a skinny man.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can fuck
everybody
off.
I've talked to, dude, my ex-wife would bitch about her weight, and I'm like, you eat one huge meal a day.
Yeah, she was probably skinny too. You guys are skinny
she
assholes.
wasn't big, but she was.
I gotta do the one meal. I just eat like shit. So I'll eat the shittiest meal for lunch, and then I'm
Right.
not gonna eat anymore. And then it's a goddamn. Who the fuck knows, man?
Give yourself like. Yeah, give yourself like 5-6 times a day that you eat little things. Never let yourself go hungry. Never let yourself get like stuffed. Right.
Yeah, it's
And everybody everybody I've talked to people, whatever. I'm not making fun of anybody, but they think like not eating is a way to.
I mean,
lose
it kind of
weight.
works.
It trains your body to get scared and store.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll work out one of these days, but who the fuck knows?
Again, not an expert, but it has been explained to me by somebody who knows more than I do, and I am also just like I'm built for dance.
Yeah, you're just
So
a
I get
skinny
that.
man, so you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about it, but it's totally fine. How was the set? Big crowd.
Yes, which makes it it was great. They were fantastic. It's always nice to see. It's in a weird way. It's always scary for a big crowd. Your sets should be going better because if it hits good with a smaller crowd, it's going to hit huge with a bigger crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if people are a pain in the ass, that has that problem can multiply quicker too. Like that's more
That's
moving
true.
parts. So if you're doing, let's say percentage-wise, and this crowd was great. They were well-behaved. They laughed at everything. They were attentive. It was great. But sometimes, and it's usually the second show that's like that, and they used to do midnight shows here. Those were always bad. 'Cause
I
this
remember
is the
that.
last stop, and people come in drunk. So they come in rowdy. They come in lively. Sometimes those can be amazing sets, but you're also like, oh, this is a big crowd. And I saw these motherfuckers walk in, and they're already a little fucked up. And by the time I get on stage, they've had another drink or two.
You can
And
point out the problems at this point. Like you sit at the bar, you'd be like, that guy right there is going
It
to be an
happened
issue.
to me my last headlining week here. It happened to me where I was like, I saw these people walk in. It was these two ladies. I'm like, she is stumbling drunk. And guess where they sat her?
Front row.
Front row.
And gave her a Long Island iced tea.
Oh yeah, she had one. She didn't wind up making it to the show, but I was headlining, so it was like 30, 40 minutes to work this out. Where I was like, hey man, I told the door guys, I'm like, keep an eye on her. 'Cause
Yeah.
she stumbled in. She tried to stumble to the bathroom, and I was like, oh good, she's gone, because there's no way with that being that wobbly, she's not coming out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to tell her friend like, hey, she's in there. But yeah, she clip-clopped back into the fucking showroom and sat back down, and I was just like, what are you doing? Why would you sit somebody who's stumbling up front? Yeah, she didn't make it to my set. She didn't even make it through the feature set before they were just. But they also like just left. Her friend was like, yeah, you're pretty bad off. We gotta go.
It's tough, man. It's part of it, but it's always a gamble.
Comedy shows can be rough, especially the late shows. There's a lot of times people will go out to dinner and have a couple drinks, or they'll just go drink before the show and they come in here, and it's a 2-drink minimum. You're having 2 more drinks, maybe you're having 3 more drinks, whatever. But you're also just sitting down in the dark watching a show. If you drank that much while you were just sitting watching a movie, by the time you get up to go, you're like, ugh. And not everybody, and some people are drinkers, but they're like, yeah, I don't typically sit and have like in an hour and a typical comedy show's an hour and a half. How many drinks would you have if you were just sitting down for an hour and a half watching a show? Would you have 2? Would you have 3? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not a heavy drinker and you're just sitting down, you're not doing drinking like that. Like you got to have an activity. You got to be walking around doing some shit.
You ever got drunk in a hot tub?
No.
That's the worst. I've been drinking a hot tub, having a great time. Hot tubs are the shit. I'd like to have one, but you're drinking.
My last experience in a hot tub was, it was rough.
Well, I'm just saying, if you drink in a hot tub, you think everything's fine. You take that big step out of it, and you're like, "Holy shit, I can't walk," because
it's pumping it. It's like pumping it quicker.
I've never been more drunk than stepping out of a hot tub. I don't think.
My favorite thing to be. This makes me sound like an alcoholic, but I'm not.
You're good company.
But my favorite thing, and I got to do it. I'd never been to New Orleans, and it's been over a year, I think. But I went to New Orleans with somebody I was dating, and I'd never been, and I didn't know what to expect. I'm not one of those people. Bourbon Street does not appeal to me.
I've been, yeah.
I'm not like that. I'd rather like sit at a nice bar and like have, but you can drink on the street, and I thought it was all just going to be like just wild college drunk, and I'm not into that. But you can just drink and we got day drunk. Day drunk is fantastic. Because you can sort of like, and we were walking around, so it was just a great time, and you're definitely tipsy and a little bit like, woo!
Yeah.
But being able to walk around, you have that little bit of like, it's almost like, okay, I'm definitely done drinking, and we can just keep walking and sort of square ourselves away. That's not exactly what happened.
You got the options. You walk by a thing, and they're like, hey, hand grenade, you need one, $5. Yeah, that bit me in the ass.
Yeah, we didn't go wild like that, but we definitely had a couple drinks, and I'm not a big drinker, so it didn't take much for me to get like very affectionate.
I went with some buddies and got so fucked up. You know, it's all like French down there, so it's like la ba da da hotel or whatever. Went to the wrong fucking hotel that was around the block,
Yeah.
and the guy let me in. He's like, dude, like, are you here or not? And I was like, yes, labba-da-do, da-da-da. And it was like, it turns out I finally looked at my key after, like, an hour of knocking on doors and waking people up.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, this is not the same at all. And then I finally made it there at 3 a.m., and they were like, fuck this guy.
I
I'm sure
did that in
everybody else is
Austin,
terrible.
Texas, with 2 different Sheratons. I was staying in a Sheraton, and I just,
Those sound the same,
I
too.
don't know what I was thinking. I was relatively clear-headed by this point, but maybe my mind was just on some other shit. There was a problem with the rental car. Or no. This wasn't even when I rented the car. This was when I was down there for my buddy's wedding, and
Take a pause.
do you have to restart?
You got to reset. Sorry.
Fair
Be right back.
Checkerino, checkerino. Mic checkerphone. We good? We're good. Nice. This technology. Finally got it sorted out, man.
I doubt it. This is never going to air
No.
on YouTube.
Well, what the hell, man? Why am I?
I'm sorry. You're wasting your time just like Gabe Kia. You know, I feel bad. I feel
Well-
a little less bad wasting your time, but Gabe's from out of
Thanks.
town. No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess I was just gonna be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I also.
That's good for audio. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. You should. Yeah. Put it all out. I was just talking to. I did a. Not a competitor. I don't think you guys are fighting for the same audience, but I did another podcast for our buddy Eric Russler.
There's only like 8 podcasts, I think, in the comedy world that are like really trying to do it.
Well,
So Eric's over there doing his thing, and I'm over here trying to do my thing, and I'm like, what the
he's
fuck?
So you guys are doing. I hats off to anybody that gets.
Fucking sucks. It's the
Equipment
worst.
and
Your
gets-
audio fucks up.
Right.
Gabe Kia's like, what the fuck? Why did I come over here?
Slapped my face.
It's terrible,
spit
man.
in my hair.
It's not
God
good.
dang it! He's
Sorry.
so tall. He meant
I
to spit
cut
in
you
my
off.
face.
I
It just
know.
hit my hair. Yeah, that sucks, man. It is.
It's
and again.
there's nothing you can do either. You're just like, oh, this is fucked up, so we can't do what we came here for. And then he was like, I got a call. So like his call, he got to talk to somebody for a bit. But I was just like, yeah, it's still fucked up.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to just drive back.
Oopsies.
Gave him the ride in the Bronco. I drove the Bronco tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that anything?
No.
Okay.
A bunch of people have them.
I got an old one though.
Oh, it's an old one.
An old one, yeah.
Oh, sick. Nice. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about a new one. I'm
No,
like, I'm not,
no.
You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, isn't that I
I
thought
had
it might help, but it probably
I
didn't.
used to drive to high school. My freshman year, I rode in with like 3 buddies, and the guy that was driving us had a Bronco 2.
That was my first car.
and that thing was a hazard, man.
Biggest piece of shit of all time. Yeah.
Dude, the thing was like, I mean, I guess it was like a cool enough vehicle, but it was
not.
so like high and so top heavy, and he was like, oh, it's a 4-wheel drive or whatever, and I was like, there's not a chance this thing is appropriate for driving anywhere but the flattest, straightest, like the fucking thing. I mean, we
No.
would mess with him sometimes and like get on, like it had like the running boards or whatever, and we would get on either side of it and just bounce up and down, and we almost got it to tip over one time.
Oh
just
yeah.
not moving.
Piece of shit, man. That was my first car. My parents had it, and it was like barely running. 2.8 liter. Shittiest engine Ford ever made. I'm a Ford guy, but shittiest engine of all time. Drove it to school one day. It broke down right where you turn in to the, everybody's
so it blocked
backed up.
everybody.
People behind me are honking and shit. I got out of the car and with the door open was pushing it while with the steering wheel into it to try to just get it out of the way. It's not a good look.
My
All the
first,
2s are terrible. Mustang 2, piece of shit. Bronco 2, piece of shit. Probably movies.
yeah, sequels are tough. My first car was a 1980 Firebird. It was
Okay.
it was brown.
On the cusp.
It was brown,
Yeah.
and on the surface, I say on the surface, it was a 1980, and this
Did it have the eagle? Did it have the bird on the hood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bird on the hood. It was kind of cool looking. And I say, like, there was, like, a color. I'm not saying it was golden.
70
or golden brown. I'm saying it was shit brown.
Shit brown.
And it wasn't
78,
like-
I think, was Starsky, or not Starsky and Hutch, but Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay.
I think that was
Okay.
78 Firebird, and then 80.
So it wasn't quite as, like,
Yeah.
good looking as that. But I will say it was, like, body-wise, it was in kind of good condition. And the interior was in pretty decent condition. But it definitely, like, the idea was I was supposed to get this hunk of shit for $5 or $500. And me and my stepdad were going to work on it. Now, I will say we did not own a garage. We lived in a townhouse that I also didn't have a spot for because him and my mom also had parking spots. So I had to, like, just find places to park it. And the thing was, like, people would pull up next to me and, like, want to race and shit like that because it looked like it looked pretty badass, but it was, like, hobbling along.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like spraying oil out of the tailpipe and just constantly. And it had, like, the doors on the thing. You know, it was a 2-door vehicle. Well, the doors were, like, 9 feet long and made of iron, apparently. And I had to take my older brother to work one day, and he was pissed off about something, and he went to slam my car door and just pulled the whole, like, handle assembly. It was like a piece of, like, plastic that went like this and kind of ran down into an armrest, and he tore the whole thing off. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's a tough fix there.
I wound up selling that to somebody for I think like $400, so not a bad
I did
turnaround
all right.
for me considering it was barely running. But he was a guy that was like he was a little bit of a, you know, a car guy. He used to, he was one of those guys. He taught me how to change the oil on that car, and I think he gave it a tune-up with me at one point. So he was like good with working on cars. I'm like, yeah, if you can fix this thing, you can buy it from me. I worked with him at Taco Bell.
There you go.
So he had a little coin to him, you know what I mean? He had a little grip.
That's not bad. I
Next-
mean, I'm a car guy. Like, I know
Yeah,
my shit
I
about
know
cars.
This about you. Yeah,
but
yeah.
I had the Bronco too, just because my parents were like, whatever, you can drive this.
Yeah.
And I had fixed up a 68 Torino. But I didn't drive it all the time. That's not a daily driver. I was like, I'll drive it every now and then to school and shit. And it was kind of a cool car. But it wasn't fast. It wasn't that fast. It was
That's
302.
in high school, though, right?
Yeah, I started working on it when I was like
So
13.
that's pretty badass to have, like, oh, this is my...
It was kind of cool.
Even if it's not a hot rod, that's like...
It was it was a cool looking car. Like, it was a cool looking car. It took forever. Like, we started working on it when I was like 13, got it done when I was 16, and then drove it every now and then. But it always had problems too. Like, because it's so old, I'd break the fucking, I broke the collar for the shifter, or it would, like, the carburetor, it fucking died at, like, a homecoming game and shit. And I'm just like, God damn it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I got to get my shit together
I
here. And
love,
it's just like, yeah.
You know, if I just had money, I always talk about that. I wouldn't get, like... I think muscle cars are pretty cool. I like them. There's something cool, very masculine about that type of shit. But if I had the money, I was going full on, like, classic. I'd go a classic luxury car.
Lincoln?
Yeah.
Cadillac?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want that car to be 42 feet long.
Yep.
But also, like, old, sort of like old BMWs and Mercedes just have, like, an old, like, you know, like almost like a gentleman's car.
Oh, yeah.
I would get something like that instead of, like, an old muscle car.
Yeah, those are cool, man. My dad's got a couple. He's got a 77 Lincoln right now, convertible.
Nice.
And he's got, it's not done, but he's got a 61 Lincoln convertible. That's going to
pretty
be
cool.
cool one day. I drove a 94 Lincoln Town Car Executive for a few years.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah. It was
They
like,
know, they really are, like,
an
trying to
old
get their
person
market
car.
down. We're like, let's call this one the
Yeah,
Executive.
yeah, it was like the oldest looking person car of all time, but it was like $3,000, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. And it didn't have any miles on it because somebody probably just drove it for a little while and they died. And I was like,
Buddy.
not bad.
There was the person that used to live. I say used to live. It was weird. This weird full circle type. So my house is here, and there's a house that sits across the street, but it faces the other street. So I look at the side of their house, which is where their driveway is, and they had a pristine. And it's not like super fancy, but they basically had like I needed a work truck, and I was like, you know, I need a work truck for my job and what I do, and I'm not necessarily wanting to buy like, I don't like 4-door trucks.
I wanted just like a 2-door.
They don't make an 8-foot bed anymore. Did you know that?
I did know that actually.
Kind of sad.
A little
That's
bit.
really what you need for a work truck.
Well, a lot of those types of things you can, like when I bought my truck. Now I drive a Frontier, which is a little small Nissan, and not one of the like newer ones that actually looks kind of tough and cool. It's just a little work truck, fleet truck looking truck, and it's 2-door, but it's got like the side doors, the suicide
Half
doors,
cab, yeah.
and a half cab. They call it a king cab.
Or the quarter.
They call it a king cab.
That's not a king cab.
That is not a king.
No,
Well,
I think
different-
that's
different manufacturers will call that cab a different thing. But it's got, it's got the 2 regular
the
doors
one that,
and then
yeah,
2 that
yeah.
open the
That's what my
opposite way.
F-150 is like. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this one was
extended
that.
cab. Extended cab.
It was an F-150. It was like a dark gray. It was like the model that I think actually like looked like a cool truck or whatever. But it was exactly what I was looking for, and it was an elderly man that lived there. And we were talking one day because he almost killed himself mowing his lawn. He had a Ryder mower, and there's like a culvert that goes down, and his mower started like sliding down that hill, and he was like barely holding himself up. He was going to topple over on his lawnmower, and it just so happened me and somebody else in the neighborhood were mowing our lawns at the same time. We both ran over there and like helped right the ship. But I got to talking to him a little bit, and I was like, I really like that truck, man. And he's like, yeah, I bought it however long ago. He bought it like 8 years ago or something like that. And he's like, and he didn't drive it.
They never do. Old people don't go anywhere. They're
The
just like,
thing
I
had,
bought
like,
it, and then
20,000 miles
Yeah.
on it. I was like, oh, Jesus. And in my mind, I was like, I did pretty much just save your life. Give it to me.
yeah.
But his son would come over and help mow the lawn sometimes or whatever. I got to witness his son yelling at him like, Dad, you're not supposed to be doing this because of shit like this. But I worked with his son at a former job, and I wound up talking to him about like how he would still work for the same company. And it was kind of a weird, like, I recognized the guy immediately. He's like, wait, do you work for True Manufacturing? And he's like, yeah, I'm still there. And I talked to him a little bit, and I was talking to him about the truck. I was like, if he ever wants to part with it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like when he dies tomorrow, because he's an elderly man. Elderly.
When he mows next time, he's gonna have to get rid of
But
that
yeah,
truck.
he also kind of smiled and was like, absolutely not. I'm getting that truck.
Yeah. You never know, but it's good to plant the seed at least, because maybe they
Yeah.
will hook you up. But
Yep.
when did
Hey,
you worked
look-
at True? I know a couple of Winfield guys that worked there.
Yeah, we've talked about this
Andrew
before.
Beckemeyer?
It was so long ago.
Okay, I don't know.
It was literally 20 years ago.
Okay, that was probably when he was working there. I don't know. Hell of a point guard.
Yeah?
Amazing. But
Well, now
it's
we
neither
know.
here nor there. But yeah, man, I guess we should wrap it up. I mean, or not. I don't care either way. I mean, this is just a bonus episode for the 3 fans out there supporting Back of the Room. We always got karaoke and shit going on too.
Yeah,
Earlier-
Terrence out there is
Yeah,
singing.
Terrence is crushing it.
Singing. He was back. He was belting out a Taylor Swift song the other day. Whew.
Yeah, that's not his lane, but he's doing great right now.
It was
Earlier, though, when Gabe and me first got here, they're doing a new thing here on Saturdays. It starts at 4 o'clock, which is right when we were starting. Like, it's the loudest music you could ever hear to no one being in there. They were like, Joe was like, yeah, it's so loud. I hope people hear it and come in. It's like, oh, great. Well,
it
that's
doesn't
gonna
get out of the lobby of the building.
that'll
I
sound-
promise you.
that'll sound great on the podcast. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? I'm just in the back of the room here. I'm trying to do.
You're not here to
Trying
tell
to-
people not to jam out.
I love jamming out, but
I love
what are you
jamming
gonna
out
do,
myself.
man? I know you got another show, so we'll let you get ready for that. Got a cool jacket. I'm going to start wearing jackets because it's cooling down. My jackets are black, tied back in. It's going to be all black for me because I'm not going to start working out. I'm sure I won't, but
Nah, you'll
You
get there,
know.
buddy. I think it'd be cool if you and Molly both just decided, like, fuck it, let's go on this crazy, intense fitness regime, and you could both get not like slim down, not get in shape, none of that bullshit. You guys just got
get jacked.
super
Yeah.
jacked.
bringing back insanity.
Like
I think I might
crazy.
still have those DVDs. Hook up the DVD
I
player,
think-
get that
I think that's
insanity
right.
going.
I don't see. I don't think Molly's a person that's like, yeah, I'm totally gonna like chug protein and just become a monster.
I don't know.
I
We'll
think it'd be
see.
hilarious though to get like just for both of you guys to have like fucking guns.
It's the only chance I have at this point. So we'll see what happens. But
Well.
thanks for popping in. Yeah, just you were
I
here.
was
and
gonna sit back here and think about all the things I'd done wrong in life.
Well, that's what it's for. That's what I do all the time. That's how it started. That's how it's ending. Scott James, everybody. Thanks for listening to Back of the Room.